Standing in the light.
Hey YouTube, what up? Lockdown RC here, and today I have an informational video on my Pro 2 mid-motor conversion. Now, this is something that I've been meaning to do for a long time, and I thought that I would just go ahead and do it today so I can show you guys how to do it if you're interested in doing it, or just for those of you that are curious. I did this mainly because it performs a lot better on the indoor track. You don't necessarily need it if you're racing outdoor, but especially with a short course truck, turning back and forth indoors, you want all your weight in the center so you can get around corners faster and leave jumps a little bit easier. So all in all, it just increases performance. That's the only thing that it does, really. It's not a aesthetics thing. That's all it does. I guess there is one aesthetics thing that you don't get a rear bumper anymore. So I actually got a T-Bone Racing bumper. I believe this is meant for like the Traxxas Slash and Rustler and stuff, and it just bolts right onto the transmission when you have it back under there. So, pop the hood off, and I'll show you what all's in there. So, two crucial elements to doing a mid-motor conversion on the Pro 2. You're going to need a motor that'll reverse itself, and you can't be afraid to do it. It's something that once you start, you really can't go back. So, yeah. I'll move the camera in and I'll show you guys what I did. Alright, so for starting out on this mid-motor conversion, I don't believe there's anything that you need extra to do it, but there are two parts that you will need to modify. Three parts actually. I don't have a spare of this one though. So if you can see that right there, I had to cut the chassis in order for the motor to fit. I cut it a little far back and it's kind of rough, but it's what I could do. So I actually have this set up for running a stick pack. I can show that to you real quick. Because I don't like buying new batteries, especially when I just spent $100 on these Max Amps batteries. And honestly, yes, it needs to have sticks, or not sticks, but shorty packs. So I'm gonna invest in some of those in the new year. But yeah, so it fits a stick pack in there. People think that you can't fit one, but you can move your ESC plate forward, it bolts right into the chassis, and then you have a little bit of extra space right here. I actually lost my foam spacer, but yeah, so I actually like it like this because I don't feel like, of course you could space the shorty pack to be in the middle, but I think it's really well balanced with this battery. Especially for outdoor, it's really planted and you're not going to spin out quite as much. So although it does lack a little bit, it could get a little bit more speed. So that's the only thing about running stick pack versus shorty pack for me at least. I know a lot of serious racers would say otherwise, but I haven't really felt that I need them. I've been finishing in the mains first, second, third, so yeah, I don't have any problems with it. But what you will need, I'm running a Tekin RS 13.5 motor ESC, so what you will need is you'll need an ESC that'll reverse the direction of your motor, because when you flip around the transmission, you're flipping the rotation. So, you can't switch like you can on regular uncensored brushless motors. You can't just switch two wires back and forth. It's not good for the motor. I mean, it might work. I've never done it, so I don't know, but I think that it might work. But you shouldn't do it. You should just find an ESC that'll reverse, and you don't even need hot wire to do it on the Tekin. You just need to use your program button. Whatever sequence of these, I'm not familiar with this ESC at all, but whatever sequence of using these buttons to get her done. So, yeah. Now, for the two things that you need to modify. So, you'll need your transmission cover, or not transmission cover, but your motor plate, my bad. And as you can see, I've ground off all of the tabs. Now there's one that sits like right about here for the rear bumper to mount up, and there's one that sits here for the there's one that sits right here for the bumper, and one down here for the bumper. I think there's like two of them right here. I'm not sure, you can't quote me on that. But the one, I actually made a mistake and I took the third one off that has your gear cover. I mean, you don't necessarily need it, but it's just good to have, especially for someone like me who goes back and forth between indoor and outdoor. And when you're outdoor, your gears can get chewed pretty easily by loose stuff. So that's what you have to do for the motor plate. Now, this was the hardest part to do. So you have to take this guy right here, which is the rear bulkhead. And so when you flip it with the transmission, you have to flip it this way so it'll fit and your toe angle will be right. So what you have to do is, see if you can see this in here. I don't know if you will be able to, if I can get it to focus that close or not, but I guess I can show it back here. I actually have a wheel nut holding the screw in on the forward position. Now for the rear, that's where these blocks would usually be, that stub that holds in the screw. So what I ended up doing is you have to take this and either use an X-Acto, a Dremel, a grinder, a combination of all three, and you have to mimic this design right here, which is really hard to do, believe it or not, if you don't know what you're doing, which I didn't. So, but anyways, you have to chop these and basically mirror that design, like I said, and then you can install it in the forward position, forward reverse position. So yeah, that's what you have to do for that. And as well, you will need to drill holes in the back of your shocks, or back of your A-arms for your shocks, my bad. Ooh, those bearings aren't happy. But so yeah, that's really all you need to do. There's nothing you need to do with your transmission. It's all in the rear of the truck, and mine didn't turn out perfect. I mean, there's stuff that I would have liked to have done better. But honestly, I have no complaints. It turned out great. Runs solid. Haven't had any issues with durability doing this. I do need to replace those bearings, but that's not because of that. It's just from overtime wear. I'll probably go with a set of Bulkheads on this bad boy. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this Pro 2 mid motor. There's not a lot to it. I want to say it's simple, but it's not. You got to know what you're doing, and you got to be confident that you're okay with dismantling your Pro 2 in a way that it's not supposed to be dismantled. So, two things before you start. Make sure your motor and ESC will switch directions, because if they don't and you do it, then you're screwed. And number two, make sure you're just taking your time and being careful, and you have all the right tools to do it. Like, I mean, I wouldn't try doing this all with a Dremel. Like, some of it you have to trim out with an X-Acto knife and whatnot. And then what I actually did is I took a grinder, a bench grinder, and I ground these two tabs down as much as I could. And then I took the Dremel and got it as close as I could, and then I took the X-Acto and actually shaved the plastic where it needed to be shaved. So yeah, if you can see that on there, I doubt you can, but it says front and it says rear. So, or no, it doesn't say rear, it just says front. So keeping that in mind, that's really all you need to do this conversion. You don't need extra parts, you don't need anything else. If you're wondering, one thing that I did differently with my shocks is that I have just a linear spring on there. These are the ones off the Pro specs that are on my Slash 4x4, because my Slash needed a stiffer spring. I believe these are like I believe the fronts are 3.1 and the rears are 3.4, but I'm not sure. So, yep, Pro 2 mid motor, that simple. Thank you guys for watching. Just remember to leave a like on this video, rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next RC update. Stay tuned.